And as I said, there were the two cases of false flag terrorism, and these were the cases that made my ex-partner and I quit and decide to go public and blow the whistle on MI5. And the first one was the bombing of the Israeli embassy in London in 1994. Now, in this case, 2 Palestinian students were arrested, and they were tried and convicted and sentenced to 20 years in prison each for conspiring to cause this explosion. And yet MI5 had information that Mossad, the Israeli intelligence agency, had actually bombed its own embassy. And it had done that for 2 reasons. One was to increase security around all the Israeli assets in London. They were always hassling for it, and MI5 was always saying, no, 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 there's not a threat. But they also wanted to shatter a Palestinian political support network, which was operating in London at the time, and which these 2 students belonged to. And the lead investigator in MI5, whose code number was, his sort of James Bond number was G91, had seen all the evidence and all the intelligence, and he made that official assessment that Mossad had done this. And the second case was the real case that made us quit. This was the case of MI6 funding the assassination attempt against Colonel Gaddafi of Libya. Now, they did this illegally, outside political control. They didn't get prior permission to do this. And they paid about $100,000 to a group of Islamic extremist terrorists, as they were called in those days. Now, of course, we all call it Al-Qaeda, to try and assassinate Gaddafi. Now, obviously it went wrong. Gaddafi's our new best friend, pushing lots of big, fat, juicy oil contracts towards our companies. But, of course, innocent people ended up getting hurt, not only when the explosion occurred, but also in the ensuing security shootout. I think in total 11 innocent people died that day because MI6 became a state sponsor of terror. So what can you do when you're working in an agency like that? In the UK, we have a law called the Official Secrets Act. So if you ever talk to anyone ever about what you saw when you were working there, you go to prison, not the people who conspired to commit murder. So we left and we went on the run, and we ended up living in exile for 3 years because we decided to report the crimes of the spies. And I was arrested, family members were arrested, friends, supporters, journalists. Some were arrested, some were even convicted for trying to help us in this process. And of course, David Shaler went to prison not once, but twice, for blowing the whistle on murder on the part of MI6. So I just raised that because, of course, the issue of false flag is a historic reality. I mean, it's not just us talking about it.